UFC 322, rate this card for me just quickly. Luke, I feel like this is one of the best cards we've had. Maybe, I reckon this is the best card of the year for me. What do you think?
Probably card of the year. I'll give it an A.
Dude, look at that main card. This is
that's
outrageous.
An A. That's an A. That's
look at that main card. This is outrageous.
That's dude. I mean, Dariush versus Saint Denis is just, I mean, they're speed running brain damage on that one. Leon trying to get redemption against, Prochess in this case, but more broadly, Sean Brady with a tough ass assignment against Michael Morales. That could be a title contending fight, certainly, or setting up one. And then I believe this is correct. Someone pointed this out to me. This might be the first UFC card ever where two fighters are moving up in weight to go become a champ. That's the two has never happened on one before. That's my understanding. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe that's the case. So historically unique as well. That's an A. That's an A card.
Yeah. Dude, and also this whole Islam story arc, it's been an incredible thing for us to watch at lightweight. Him going up to welterweight, but doing it against someone like a JDM in his prime. How often does that happen? So rare. The odds are a little bit all over the place. This is the Australian odds here. So it's paying $3.02 for JDM and $1.37 for Islam Makhachev. I'm going to turn over the US odds right here. So it opened it at minus 185 at Makhachev and JDM at plus 60. And now we're looking at JDM at plus 200 and Islam Makhachev at minus 235. Now, Luke, Khabib, Javier Mendez, they admit that this fight is a lot tougher than what the odds show. But why do you think the odds are so one-sided going into this fight?
I think that there's starting to be a lot of people that are just sort of, there's been a lot of Makhachev boosters in the media. You're hearing a lot of stories. I saw, for example, Ali's obviously advocating for his guys, but more than that, I saw, this is one example, but I'm saying this kind of thing is happening a lot. So Punahele Soriano did an interview with Mike Bond. Did you see it?
No.
So it was funny. He was saying one time, this was during the pandemic, he was rolling up to Extreme Couture and he had no one to train with for whatever time. And he called up Ali and he's like, I got no one to train with. They're like, oh yeah, we'll send Islam to go. And he was Soriano at the time was a full 85er. And he said Makhachev just fucking murdered him for 2 hours. He couldn't do anything to him. He was like, I'm an 85er and this guy's a 55er. I can't do shit to this guy. And you're hearing I've just noticed there's a lot of that happening going out there. And, the other part too is I don't know how the odds makers ultimately, what evidence they cobble together to make their odds. But the fact that JDM he's not like a big media star. I know he's done some stuff, particularly in Australia. I know he had an interview out with Izzy recently and some other stuff.
He doesn't do media here either. He hates doing media.
Yeah, exactly.
More than 2 words out of it.
And so, Craig Jones is out there. Obviously, there's interesting things happening. But what I'm trying to make is one guy, it's not like Islam does a ton of interviews either, but one guy is a bigger name to begin with. And then there's just this boosterism thing that's happening around him. And I think that's explaining how some of the lines move here. Again, these are normal line movements. This is not in any way abnormal. So that doesn't, but the lines can move however they want. That doesn't mean the fight's going to go one way or the other. But I just feel like people are starting to come around to the idea, whether they're right or they're wrong, that this Islam guy, his prowess will carry up to the next weight class. And we'll see.
Yeah, I think the bookmakers as well trying to get people in on the action a little bit, right? Offering them maybe a little bit
more
money.
Always.
We saw that 90-1 odds with what was it, Buster Douglas and Tyson. Japan. So they're always trying to get you to play. But yeah, and speaking of this fight, I mean, you and me have discussed it multiple times. You've broken it down in your own mind multiple times. Now we're just a week away from the action happening. How do you actually feel like? What do you actually feel like is going to be the X factor here for JDM to be able to beat someone as accomplished and difficult as Islam Makhachev here?
Back exposure and takedown defense and wrestling up, period. I mean, it just doesn't seem very difficult for me to think that if this fight is a striking contest predominantly, Islam's going to have real problems. Islam is not a shitty striker by any stretch of the imagination. I think everyone would agree, but he's not JDM. And again, up a weight class too, not just in terms of pure ability, but how that leverages up a weight class. If he can make this a striking contest, then, predominantly, not exclusively, of course, but predominantly, then I feel like it's his fight to lose, to be honest with you. But, if he's constantly getting taken down, if he is being held down, if he is giving up back exposure, even then he might be able to find ways to win, but it makes the job radically more difficult. This is, if you're going to first of all, don't get taken down. And if you're going to get taken down, don't create back exposure and wrestle up quickly without creating submission opportunities. Like, that is the fucking name of the game, in addition to how you set that up with your striking. But that wrestling up, back exposure, takedowns, he cannot have that be a significant part of this fight and I think win.
It's so interesting as well seeing Islam at this weight class. I'm seeing reports of people saying, you always get this stuff. It's all a bunch of bullshit. But it's like, he was 30% of his former self at lightweight,
Right.
and now he's at 100%, right? But we can't deny the fact that he was a big 155er. He was a big 155er, and he was kind of on a deficit and keeping himself at a low weight for a really, really long time as he was getting older. So what are your biggest questions for Islam Makhachev now that he's moving up to this weight class? Because, of course, he's going to be stronger, but will he be slower? Yeah. How will it impact other parts of his game? What are your biggest questions?
Yeah, like, what was the weight that they came to as the sweet spot? Because if you just balloon back up, you're carrying more weight. So yeah, like at 55, he might be cutting a lot of weight, and that drains his gas tank. But you can do the Goldilocks and the Three Bears the other way too far. You can overcorrect. Be like, oh, I'll just be as big as I want. But it's like, what's the actual optimal weight? What's the weight where you're physical at the weight class, but you still retain some of your speed, you maximize power, and you don't compromise the overall load that you are carrying into a potentially 25-minute fight? What is that sweet spot? Did they identify that? I think that's going to be the key for me. And, listen, he trains. I mean, look, that Nurmagomedov team is, they do only really one thing, which is win. So I suspect that they've got this dialed in, but we don't know. Like, there could be ways that gets tripped up, or maybe they miscalculated. But I think that's what I'm mostly paying attention to, because if he has his cardio, if he's still physical at the weight class, and he's not overly slow, or he doesn't get drained long term by having to carry extra, that's going to make everything he does in terms of trying to mix the game up a lot more doable, right? So these things are actually all connected. That's what I'm looking for, is how he manages the physicality demands going up 15 pounds. There is a sweet spot to it, and you got to get that right.
How surprised would you be if this thing finishes in the first round for either direction? JDM gets the knockout. Ben Vickers told me he believes JDM knocks Islam out, or Islam gets him down straight away and submits him.
I'm not one of these guys that's like, oh, because it's well matched and because they're both really good, and even a guy like Islam, very good defensively, that like, I don't think it can end early. This is MMA. They're wearing fucking biking gloves. You know what I mean? Like, you get tapped on the chin, you're very likely to go down. I would say it'd be a little bit surprising, only in the sense of what I just mentioned, which is that Islam has very good defense. It was something that was a bit of a problem for him early, and I think he's really worked on not just how he covers, but how he manages a fight and a round to minimize the kinds of more extreme forms of risk that a fight can bring if you're not careful. He's very good about managing that. Like, he's very, very sequential in the way in which he pursues and advances his attack. And so for that reason, for him to just get chinned like that would be a little bit surprising. But in some level, honestly, it wouldn't be. Like, JDM is powerful, and I think we don't even know the full extent to which he's great. So what I would say is, do I think him getting chinned in the first round is like the most likely thing? Probably not. I think it probably goes, 2-3 rounds at least. But when you're dealing with so many, in some senses, known, but also kind of unknown factors in terms of how it all works together, anything is possible, dude. I would not. I'm rarely one of these guys like, it could never end in the first round. Yes, it could. Yes, it could.
How important do you think it is for Islam to establish his takedowns early in the fight? Because Bilal wasn't able to do it, right?
I don't think the takedown, as like aggressively pursuing it and then pinning him with it, is actually that important. I think it's much more important to disrupt his rhythm. So, for example, you get him down where he's got shoulder up against the fence, he's got the outside knee up. So he's on one knee, he's one knee down, and Islam is kind of riding it, and then like from behind, forcing. He's got a little bit of ground and pound going, and then he's kind of forcing JDM to kind of cover and hand fight. If you can make him do this for long stretches of the fight, that's not necessarily super exciting, but it disrupts his ability to begin to get his offense going. And Islam can go back to that if or at least can make use of that multiple times through the course of a fight, presumably. Again, under the scenario which you're talking about, where he's like pursuing takedowns. It's less so to me like picking him up of a double and then mat returning and then pinning him to the floor and that kind of a thing. That might be a little bit hard. That's why back exposure and then like these halfway positions, this is where the wrestling up and then the grip breaking. That to me is going to be the interesting part. To what extent can he grip break, separate himself from Islam? Because if Islam can get to his back and then maintain grip, well, now you got a problem. That's a different problem. But if he has a hard time maintaining grips, if he's got a hard time getting back exposure, or taking advantage, I should say, of back exposure, that's JDM's fight to lose. So it's less about, we got to get a big double leg or a single leg. We got to get him to the floor. That'd be great if he can, but you don't need that to win. You need him to just not get his stuff going. And Islam can definitely do that.
Islam wins here. What does this mean for his legacy? Where does this put him in the? Is he in the GOAT list? Like, are we starting to talk about him on the GOAT list? No?
His best wins to date are the two Volkanovski wins, but the second one is hard to value especially highly. So he's got that one. He's got the Oliveira win. That's the second one. And then he's got, who did he beat in his last one? Poirier. That's a nice win, but that's not a super, super elite win. This would be an elite win, right? Because you're up a weight class for the championship. That's elite. So he'd have like 3 elite wins in my judgment on that. Now he's obviously got, was he 27-1? So he'd be like 28-1. That'd be super impressive. Like, don't get me wrong, he's got a phenomenal resume, but GOAT? No, we're not there. You don't have enough elite wins for that. It would put him in like the top table, like the top class of all-time fighters, right? What's the highest tier of a fighter you can be? He'd be that. But like inside of that is where you get the GOAT list. And I think he'd be a little bit on the bubble for something like that.
What would you want to see? Some defenses at welterweight? Obviously, we got killers on killers in that.
You've got
in the rankings there.
You've got welterweight at one of the best places it's ever been. Beating a couple of those bubbas would go a long way. You know what I mean?
I saw on your live chat, you said you don't believe Ilia Topuria becomes a triple champion. Ali Abdelaziz told me earlier this week he believes the UFC is waiting to see what happens with this fight before giving Ilia his next title defense. So that could potentially mean these guys could match up in the division next. What would your reaction be if that was the next move from the UFC and this was really what was happening?
At 70 or 55?
70.
Before I would have said that's impossible, and now I'm like, I don't think it's the likeliest thing, but they might just start remixing this stuff because they don't have big stars. And Topuria,
and you don't lose much if he moves up, goes to welterweight, loses to
exactly. Oh, he couldn't. Guy went from 45 to 70, and he couldn't win. All right, so what? He goes back to 55.
And Paramount, CBS.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely think that I'm still going to say it's more likely than not it doesn't happen, but that difference is beginning to narrow. Yeah.
Much of a chance at 170 though against Islam, in your opinion?
I wouldn't pick him to win at 70. 55, different story. If it's at 70, and if Islam beats JDM, and then they want to make that, I'm picking Islam. If it's a 55, it's a little of a harder pick, but not at 70. At 70, I'd pick Islam. Yeah.
Speaking of 170, Leon Edwards has a plan. Have a look at this one. Beat Carlos Prates this weekend. 2 fight Ian Gary in March, April. 3 fight for the belt in the summer of 2026. How much stock are we buying from the market right here in the Leon Edwards?
Not a penny.
Plan?
Not a penny. He's a good fighter. It's not me saying that. And I don't think he's necessarily done either. Like, he could still get some good wins. But he's going to win 2 fights and be right back in the title fight? No, he's not. He's not a big star. He's not a big draw. He got thoroughly smashed by Brady. And obviously, he got largely beaten up to the 5th round anyway by Bilal. He's probably not going to get the wins he needs. And even if he does, the division's going to move on without him. No. Like, dude, once you get separated from a UFC title, it is very hard to get it back. And you've seen fighters do it. Don't sleep on how easy they make that look. For most guys who touch the title, once it gets taken away, it never comes back. And I suspect Leon's one of those guys.
What do you think has more on the line here, this Sean Brady Morales fight or this Leon Edwards Carlos Prados fight? Because here Edwards is fighting potentially for this future, I guess. If he loses badly here, this could potentially be it. But then Sean Brady, but he can taking a huge risk and jumping on this card as well.
Yeah, it's Brady Morales, because Brady arguably could have been in spot for a title shot. It was a little bit outside, but it could have been there after just destroying Leon Edwards and then beating Gilbert Burns, obviously, before that and whatnot. But he was in a good position to get a title fight, at least a number one contender fight, which I'm going to guess if he wins, he'll probably still get he'll be in a good position for that. But Michael Morales is fucking huge. He is young. He has very good takedown defense, extremely athletic. I don't think he's the technical wizard on the ground that Brady is, but Brady getting the fight there is going to be a struggle. And Morales, this would be easily the best win of his career if he gets it. Like, this is, to me, much more about the future of the division if Morales wins, or rewarding Brady with a title shot if he wins. But in either case, to me, the stakes seem much higher. Prachev, I don't think is ever really going to get close. And Leon, I think his best days are behind him.
But dude, will he get a title shot? We got Ian Gary fighting Bilal. So if Ian Gary beats Bilal, surely he'll be getting the title shot. And then let's not forget Kamaru Usman is still in the chat. I don't know what his plans are. But yes. I think I'm going to be speaking to him in the next week or so. Okay. And I think he's going to try to get active as well. So for Brady, was this a mistake, taking potentially one of the hardest fights with no real... He might be in the same spot if he wins.
We'll only see after the fight, but your question is the right one. This was a huge risk. Now, I'm going to say this way. For as raw of a fighter as Morales is, he is such a beast, a physical beast. And again, technical too when it comes to like the more kind of judo wrestling side of things, that honestly, even if Gary beats Bilal Muhammad, do we really think he's going to knock him out? Like, that fight's going to go the distance, right? Whereas I feel like the Brady one could go the distance too, but Brady, maybe I might be biased. But I just feel like if Brady puts the win streak together and beats Morales, where people were ducking him before and now he signs up for it, I feel like the UFC might reward that. But, who knows? Because Rakhmonov's kind of out there, as you indicated. Who knows with Kamaru? Who knows with Bilal? It is certainly up in the air, but I just feel like who would have the most impressive path at that point? For me, it would be Sean Brady.
Dude, Morales also a dark horse. A lot of people kind of underestimating him too.
He's
it's like a terrible fight kind of to take, but all respect to Sean Brady for being a gamer. All right, guys, just taking a quick break to thank our sponsors. First up, Manscaped. Look at this white hot lawnmower 5.0 Ultra. Make sure to jump on this bad boy today. 15% off with the code word submission plus free shipping now. And you can get 15% off the entire website. I'm talking about the most comfortable underwear that you're going to wear. I'm talking about the beard hedger, which is what I use to make sure that my beard is in shape and ready to go for the program. And of course, you got the weed whacker for your nose hair too. You got all sorts of potions and lotions that get you sorted as well. Manscaped is your one-stop shop for everything that you need when it comes to your body and feeling good. Just one more time, have a look at this bad boy. Of course, you could get the different color variations as well in the black, but this is a limited edition right here that you can pick up on Manscaped today. 15% off with the code word submission. You could use it in the shower. You charge it once, put it in your bag. Doesn't go off like a vibrator, which is hopefully not an issue for you. Make sure you can use it discreetly and easily. Keep your boys smooth downstairs. Manscaped is the place to do it. So make sure to jump on right now. Support the guys right now. 15% off with a code word submission. Free shipping. Lawnmower 5.0 Ultra in the white hot, or you get the original OG black, which is also awesome. And the beard hedger as well. Like I said, one of my favorites out there too, the weed whacker. Just so many products on Manscaped that you can't say no to. It's Christmas almost around the corner. Surprise that special person in your life with some Manscaped in their life. And also, of course, the boxes are beautiful. Open these bad boys up. It's just a great gift altogether. Just have to wrap it lightly, put it under the tree. You're all sorted, and you help the program. 15% off with the code word submission. And I want to welcome back our friends at NordVPN, who are giving you the best discount off your NordVPN plan. Go to nordvpn.com/submission right now. You get an extra 4 months on the 2-year plan for free. That's right. extra 4 months on the 2-year plan for free. There's no risk with Nord's 30-day money-back guarantee. Of course, you could click the link in the description below. Try it risk-free right now with a 30-day money-back guarantee. And, of course, pick up that great deal where you get all those months for free. Of course, NordVPN, best VPN out there. And if you guys want to watch your sports, I know the NBA season is crazy right now. It's across about 25 different networks, all your favorite movies, all your favorite TV shows dispersed over about 100 different streaming platforms. What about discounts to signups for different streaming services, for different products, for travel, all sorts of stuff? You can get it cheaper by changing it to different countries. And of course, NordVPN protects your information during this Christmas period as you're shopping. Make sure no one steals your credit card information. Takes away all your information, so you got to reset all your passwords. NordVPN has you sorted. It protects you, it looks after you, and it gives you access to all of the best sports around the world. Next year, it seems like having a VPN would be a good idea to have to watch all your favorite sports all over the world. NordVPN.com has you sorted. NordVPN.com/submission right now. Pick up this deal today. Get across it now. You're not going to regret it as we go into the Christmas season with so many big sports being played and you guys having to be across about 3,000 different networks and streaming platforms to watch it. This one, Valentina and Weili, what are we expecting here? It's the co-main. Not many people are talking about it, but still high implications here. Obviously a title involved and also a great fight to be on this card.
You know what? Shevchenko is a warrior. She's clearly closer to the end of her run, than ever, obviously, but it's especially close now. Weili, I've always had, I think everyone has great respect for her. I thought that the move up would be a little bit too much, but I have mixed feelings because Shevchenko basically inherited an opponent again with Grasso, who just really fell apart down the stretch in terms of that rivalry. And then Fiorot was getting busted up, but kind of wrestled that one back a little bit to at least make it close-ish towards the end of it. But at the same time, I think the lethality of Shevchenko's game has been diminished. And that gives someone like Zhang Weili a great opportunity. And her takedown defense has obviously been massively improved. But I just feel like the physicality and the smarts of Shevchenko, even though she's older, are a little hard for me to overlook. But do nothing, not that I have anything against Shevchenko, but nothing would make me happier than seeing Zhang Weili win because she's such a credit to the game,
Dude, this card is incredible.
It's
cannot
amazing.
wait. What
it's
about this
amazing
as
card.
well? Bo Nickal fighting, a big fight for him on the prelims. I know he got a billion messages around of hate after the RDR loss, but what are you looking from him in this? Is it just a win? Do you want to see what kind of improvements he makes in certain areas? What do you think is a best case scenario for Bo here outside of the obvious first round submission or maybe like a TKO stoppage?
Escalating offense, build an attack and then build upon the attack. Do not make mistakes. Do not overrush it. Build on your strengths and then advance the attack. Do what Islam does. Create the beginning of the attack and then advance it thoughtfully and systematically en route to a stoppage finish. That's what I want to see. I don't need to see, I'm going to show off my striking. Okay, if that becomes a necessary part in the way in which the fight goes, fine. But I don't really need to see that per se. What I want to see is probably a takedown and then a methodical application. Once you take them down, I don't want to see them get back up. And once you begin to hold them down, methodically apply ground and pound, positional advancement, and the threat of submissions, that dual 3 threat to score a comprehensive, clear, decisively advanced attack. That's what I want to see. Anything else to me is a waste of time.
No bad Dan Henderson impersonations. All right. You were doing the pre-game with BC, obviously, for MK.
Yep.
You're doing the live watch along. What else is happening during this fight week?
Yeah. I'll do tape study on my Substack for paid members. I finally got my internet fixed, so I'll do that. I know. I have both. I have 2 internet providers in my house. Can you believe this? I have no other way to solve this problem. Anyway, but I've got it figured out. So I'm going to be doing that, and then I'll do probably a recap as well for my YouTube channel on the Sunday after post-fight show. Comprehensive coverage. You know what it is.
Big time MMA back and the best in the game right here. Luke Thomas, I appreciate it, man. Thanks for joining me.
Thank you, buddy.